Today on the show, when you read it, it says Mike McDaniel has a real problem developing. And you're wondering, well, what the hell is he talking about? Well, let's talk about it. Anthony Weaver just talked a little bit about it with David Furones, now getting his second interview with the Saints, which is big, okay? Which means he is down to one of the final candidates and finalists. And I think if you don't hire Anthony Weaver, you're a stupid organization, because if that man can build a staff, he has it. He has it. So, unlike McDaniel, who you don't see it, it looks like he's got it. And he didn't work with everything he needed this year and still did a half-decent job. So now, remember what I told you, that this past season would be the season that puts McDaniel on the hot seat. I told you this the year before, okay? Because I was already kind of off his bandwagon, and sure enough, this got me completely off his bandwagon. He came up with another disastrous coaching year, the worst so far, and he has now put himself on the hot seat. Weaver knows this. So for you, NorCal out there, why would you want to stay here where you know everybody could get fired at the end of the year? I like the personnel staff, and they're going to get fired because they hired the wrong coach. Because the personnel is not really the real problem here. You should have won 4 or 5 more games, but you hired the wrong coach. So this whole thing could get blown up again, and Weaver knows it. And like I saw somebody mention, oh, well, why don't they go after Darren Rizzi? Why would Darren Rizzi even want to come here? Why would any real good defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, special teams coach, why would you want to come here when you know the guy that's here has been figured out around the league, is on the hot seat, and unfortunately, you have a quarterback that refuses to take care of himself. And you can't trust him anymore because he can talk all the shit he wants, but you can't believe him because he's proven to you over and over again he will go the ignorant route every single time pretty much. So what future is there? If you're Weaver, you're trying to get off a sinking ship. Well, we all wanted Danny Crossman fired, and it was a great move. For Danny Crossman, it was an even better move because he was going to get fired anyways next year at the pace they're going. So he's going to get paid for it and not even have to do anything for it. So you've got Weaver, second interview with the Saints, okay? You got McDaniel now on the hot seat. So you're on the brink, if you lose Weaver, of trying to add your 4th defensive coordinator in 4 years. You had Fangio, who did a damn good job, and Weaver did a damn good job. Josh Boyer, I don't think he actually did a bad job considering what he had, as injured as they were, and had no secondary whatsoever. So I think it wasn't that bad what he did. But how do you get that 4th guy? And then a lot of people talk about Robert Saleh, like our guy Furones talked about Robert Saleh. Well, Saleh has a second interview with the Jags. And I think Robert Saleh could end up as the defensive coordinator for Green Bay if he doesn't get a head coaching job. He was there as a consultant this year, helping them out. He was the best man in LaFleur's wedding. I think he could end up in Green Bay. I really do. And LaFleur is comfortable. They're having success. They're trending in the right direction. Miami is trending this way. Green Bay is trending that way. So it allows Saleh to work with a more stable situation. Okay. Deshae Townsend, I believe. Can you look it up, Sean? for San Francisco, they fired their defensive coordinator, Deshae Townsend, I think it is. And so that's another option for him. Right? I think they have either Haley there as filling in or something, or tell me what's going on in San Francisco, because I forgot about that one. But I think that that could also be an option for Salah. And again, why would you want to come here if you're Rizzi or you're Salah when the head coach, the GM, everybody's pretty much on the hot seat going into 2025? Yes, sir.
It looks like they interviewed him a week ago.
They interviewed who? Haley?
Deshae Thompson.
That's what it is. They interviewed Deshae Thompson, and they fired their defensive coordinator. That's what it was, right?
I guess they have, because they're interviewing Deshae Thompson for the defensive coordinator position. So, yes.
So I think that if Salah doesn't get a head coaching job, he also could go there too. So he either goes to Green Bay or he can go to San Francisco. I don't think he comes to Miami. I really don't. And I think this go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean. What were you going to say?
And I know he probably doesn't have any relationship with Campbell, but the Detroit Lions healthy, that defense, if Aaron Glenn leaves, that opens up that coordinator position as well.
That's right. That's a good point. And a stable situation also with the Tin Cup coach. They're not going to fire him. But right now, everybody knows that the Dolphins, everything is on the hot seat right now. This doesn't create an environment where you're going to get the best coach possible. And so this creates an environment that your head coach must be so exceptional. That's not the case here, ladies and gentlemen. This is why, like, these problems that I see arising for Mike McDaniel, and I start to look at the 2025 season, and I have very little to no hope for the 2025 season. You know, if you're looking for an echo chamber to feed you bullshit, you can go ahead and do that. I'd love to see the Dolphins prove me wrong. I'd love to see Mike McDaniel prove me wrong, but everything I'm seeing, and that's where the owner had to look at what you're doing. Because when you do bring back that coach, you're bringing back that environment, and then there's not a lot of people that want to be a part of that environment. And the more that environment has been exposed now for 3 seasons, and you see how it ends, people don't want to come on board to this. So your thoughts of Rizzi and Salah and these kind of coaches, and if you do lose Weaver, this will create a real problem. You already have a problem in trying to get an excellent special teams coach, which I don't think you're going to get. Unless you can get some under-the-radar college coach or something that gets elevated and the guy becomes the second coming. And then on the defensive side, I could see you hiring from within when it's all said and done. If you lose Weaver and you can't get Salah, you're certainly not getting Darren Rizzi. There's no way Darren Rizzi would ever come here. Not under these circumstances. He's been in this organization before. Under the same ownership. So he knows. He's not going to want to come here. At all. Not going to want to come here. So Mike McDaniel has a real problem developing right now. The front office is going to have to help him out if they can. And I don't think Stephen Ross ever uses foresight when he makes decisions with his football team, unfortunately.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.